Hello, my divine feminine ladies. How are you all doing today? This is part 2 of surviving the narcissistic jealous mother. I will be diving more deeper into how to move on from this, to heal and move on. People online, they'll share things that they go through, experiences, and they just leave it at that. My goal for this page, before we talk about children, marriage, love, courtship, divine femininity, and just being a woman and enjoying being a woman, all those other fun stuff, we need to tackle our shadows. We need to tackle what we've gone through. We need to heal from what we've experienced so that we can become the best versions of ourselves, so that we can be of value to other women around us, so that we could be of value to the families that we have around us. We don't want to bring toxicity into unions, into the children you'll be raising, and I personally wish that my mindset was so much better before I even considered all those things, because I think I would have seen a lot of red flags and stuff like that. But because I wasn't taught that growing up, I had to learn through my experiences. Unfortunately, a lot of us have to learn through our experiences, and that's what allows us to become the ones that can teach you all and kind of guide you so that you can do better than some of us that had to go through the hardship. I don't want that for you ladies. I really want you ladies to enter beautiful, wonderful seasons with grace and with confidence and with reassurance. It is unfortunate to be in a situation where you have a mother who operates in a certain way with everything that I spoke about on video, the first video. I've had women reach out to me personally, and I've heard stories unimaginable. And sometimes you think that you're alone, but when you finally speak up, you realize that so many people are going through this silently. They don't speak up because it's almost hard to believe, because we've gone our lives just keeping it to us. So when we speak up, people are like, why didn't you say it this whole time? You know what I mean? Because it's not spoken about in society. But I'm glad that I could be a voice for a lot of you. I've experienced so many things, and I'm not saying these things to scare you ladies or to make you bitter. This is why I'm doing a part 2, because yes, you've experienced this horrible experience. However, I don't want you to stay there. However, speaking up to help other women heal is also part of this journey for me, and I'm loving it. I don't want us to stay bitter. I don't want us to stay angry. Yes, you went through what you went through, but now I want to teach you how to use that energy in the right place. I don't want you to use that energy to hurt people, if that makes sense, because hurt people. So I don't want you to have a daughter one day and you do the same things to her. This is why I say, before you even want to consider marriage and children, we need to tackle this, okay? So I will be giving you some tips on how to move on, heal, and affirm, so that you can honestly let it go and become the best version of yourself. So let's begin. I also want to just say that a lot of us that have experienced these type of mothers, we've experienced sabotages in our lives. I forgot to mention that in the other video. I don't know if I did, but sabotage is one of the biggest thing. You'll enter into a relationship, make business ideas or stuff like that, and these are the same people that will discourage you or tell you, something is off about this person, and you can never keep a relationship, or money and all that kind of stuff. So trust me when I say I know exactly what you're going through. These steps right here will help you to move forward. So how to free yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically from the narcissistic, jealous mother, because I would say that is one of the strongest bonds out there, a mother and her child. It's a very strong bond. So when the mother is imbalanced in her femininity, because a woman who hates another woman, she is imbalanced, and it's not a normal behavior. When you come across a woman like this in any place in your life, whether it's like a workplace or family member or anything like that, my biggest advice is keep to yourself. Those are the type of women you just stay clear from. Don't get close to them. They are the ones that will bite you and you will regret it. This is why I don't like that saying of forgive them for they do not know what they do. They know. They know what they're doing. Okay, let's not use religion to hide poor behavior. You know exactly what you're doing. You are a grown woman. You've experienced things in your childhood, in your adulthood, and now you're letting it out on other women. That is a toxic behavior. That is not normal. Yes, you do know what you're doing and you need to heal. That's all I have to say. So let's stop enabling behaviors like that by saying they do not know what they do. Let's pray for them. No, someone needs to speak up, and you need to stay clear from these type of people. And if you keep them around, knowing that it is evilness that they're doing, that is on you at this point, because you've been given all the signs. And if you stay in that toxicity, it gets to a point where it's like, yeah, you were a victim, and now it's like, okay, now you're staying in it, and you know that it's wrong, but you still want to like pray and forgive them. And listen, there's nothing wrong with forgiving and not being around these people. You don't have to be around them to prove that you're holy and righteous. You're just destroying yourself even more. And have you ever seen a fruit? When a fruit is like rotten, is that the word? When a fruit is like bad, rotten, and it's near another fruit that's not, you'll start to see that toxicity goes onto the other fruit. I've seen it happen. And it just keeps spreading all around. That's what you're doing to yourself when you keep people like that around you, whether it's your mother, your father, your sibling, I don't care who it is. If people like that don't want to change and they continuously sabotage your life, treat you like dirt, treat you poorly, you need to cut that cord and keep it moving. You need to keep your distance. Boundaries, that is called self-respect and self-love. I did a video on self-love, so please watch that video. So we need to be very careful. If you are someone who's a Christian or you practice any other religion, I'm not telling you to leave the religion, but I'm telling you to be wise, okay? If a scripture says, forgive them for they do not know what they do, but there are people that don't practice your religion and are doing good for other people, and they know right from wrong. Because when I was a Christian, I spoke to people that were not Christian at some point, right? And they would tell me they know when they're doing wrong. So it comes to a point where it's like you need to critically think, okay? You need to critically think. All I'm asking is for you all to stop hiding behind these words, these statements. It comes to a point where you need to be accountable for your actions. Okay, so let's start with mental freedom, okay? I want you ladies to educate yourself and learn about narcissistic abuse. That is one thing that I personally had to do, which helped me to realize what I was going through, not only through my mother, but also my ex-partner. So that helped me to see behaviors that I saw growing up, especially with like my father. Unfortunately, I grew up around a lot of people with this behavior, and I don't use that word lightly. I don't like it when people use that word because someone just behaved a certain way. You know, a lot of people can behave poorly, but they're not necessarily narcissistic. I hope you know what I'm trying to say. Like, let's not use it just because someone upset you. Like, there are people that have really experienced people like this, and it's very toxic, and it's very abusive. I think emotional abuse is just as bad as physical. I want you ladies to also reframe the narrative. Basically, stop internalizing the voice of like your mother. Her criticism is not your truth. Learn to question things. Okay, learn to question, talk to yourself. When you hear her say things that you know is not true, talk to yourself in your head. Be like, You know that's not true because ABC. You know, especially when those mental games are happening, you really need to affirm yourself a lot. Also, and replace those words with affirming words. So if you're being told you're not good enough, you'll never make it out there without me, which are words I've heard myself, you just affirm yourself and say, no, I will make it someday. I am capable. I have the resources. I am intelligent. I got this. If you have a belief, a religion that you practice, like affirm yourself with those words as well. Read your scripture, whatever it is that you have that can give you confidence, joy, peace, you do that for yourself. Affirm yourself, please. Okay, so the third thing about mental freedom that I want you ladies to do, and I hope you ladies are taking notes because this is deep. Detach from her opinions, okay? Her view is not yours, okay? And her views is not who you are. If you're being told that you are, let's say she's saying like, oh, you are a bad daughter, but you know you're a good daughter. You know you loving. You have a big heart. You tell yourself that you are a good daughter because you know. You start listing all the things you've done. You reaffirm yourself and you remind yourself that you've been good. You know it deep in your gut, you know? So some of us grew up where we've been told these things over and over again to the point where you believe it, but your gut knows the truth. I want you ladies to start working with your intuition. You already know the truth, follow it, okay? Your body's already telling you what's going on. Because if you fall into this trap of letting her tell you who you are while you know who you are, that's how she controls you. And that's how that cycle keeps going. It keeps going because you think you're not good enough. You think you're this because she's already told you who you are since you were a little girl. So now that you're older, it's easy for her to keep pulling you back into that cycle. But once you know who you are out of that control. So the next one is emotional freedom. Okay, so ladies, I want you to feel the grief, okay? If you are at the stage where you're like, I'm done, I'm walking away, I want you to feel the grief. It's okay to mourn. It's okay to cry about the mother that you never got to experience. I don't know if that makes sense. Mourn the mother that you needed but didn't get. And that's okay. It's okay to cry. I want you to feel all those feelings. I really want you to like face that shadow. Like you need to face it. You need to feel that pain. You need to mourn it. I want you to feel it. I don't want you all to just be like, let me pray. Let me ask, you know, God to take away this pain and keep it moving. No, like you need to put in the work. Okay, you can't be out here trying to like mask what you've gone through, because that's like you being like, yeah, I'm moving on, yeah, I'm love, I'm light, I let it go, God is love, and that's it. No, you need to go through this pain. You need to feel it. You need to cry about it, and you need to be honest with yourself. I am angry. I'm angry that I was treated like this. I'm angry that I went through. You have every right to do that. You need to do that, or else you're going to build up so much resentment, so much anger, and one day you're going to snap. The choice is yours. This is very necessary and an important step, okay? Healing begins with facing loss, facing what you won't have anymore, okay? You need to deal with that. The next part is you need to build a self-affirming identity. You need to journal. You need to start affirming yourself. You need to start character building. Do inner child work, like write down everything that you went through as a child and write down how you felt about those specific scenarios in a very raw and honest way. I am not the type to encourage swearing, but when I say in this case, when you are writing down how you felt at that age, let's say you're 10 years old, something happened and you expressed yourself, I want you to write in your journal as if you are that 10-year-old girl again and write down exactly how you felt in that moment and exactly every word that you think you would have said. Okay? This is the only way for you to move past this. You need to face all those scenarios. Write it all down. Write it down. Look at it. Read it. And then you can like rip it apart, throw it away, burn it, just release it, let it go. Okay? I also want you to surround yourself around people who actually love you, who actually like you, and who actually want the best for you, that don't have any agendas towards you, but that generally want the best for you and that speak life onto you. Surround yourself around people like that. That is the best thing you can do for yourself. The last thing I want you to do for the emotional freedom is I want you to practice emotional boundaries. You are not responsible for her moods, her life decisions, all of that. It is not yours. It belongs to her. All that trauma dumping, all those things that she did to you growing up, that's not yours. That is hers. Her pain is not yours. It's hers. Do you hear me? Learn to say, that is hers, not mine. That is hers, it's not mine. Keep reaffirming yourself that, okay? Because the goal is for us to become better mothers, better women, better women in general, so that our children can get the best version of ourselves, so that we do not continue this cycle. The last one is physical freedom, okay? This is like the biggest step, when you're like, you know what? I'm ready. I don't expect you ladies to get to like this last level right away. It takes time. Some of you are probably already at this level. You're like, heck, it's time. It's time. So set clear boundaries, okay? You need to make it clear. If it means less phone calls, less, showing up in person. This is you now putting respect on your mental health. This is you saying, this is how much I can handle, and that's that. Okay? You have every right to set boundaries. You also have every right to cut every ties if it's gotten to a level where it's very, like, to the extreme, abusive, mentally, emotionally, physically. You have every right to cut the cord and keep it moving in life. You do not owe her anything. If anyone has ever told you in life you owe someone like that, that's been wicked, that you owe them something, you do not. And I'll be the first one to tell you this. No, do not feel guilty. No, you're not going to hell. No, you're not going to be punished. You have every right to keep it moving. You did your part. You showed love even though you didn't receive it. You did your best. You tried to make amends. You tried to see if this person would change. You didn't see the change, and you want to live a peaceful life. You have every right to live a peaceful life. Okay? You have every right to enforce boundaries and let the individual know that you will not tolerate A, B, C. And if those things are not respected, you have every right to walk away and reinforce even more boundaries. The second one is to create space, like literally create space. So you have every right to like move out if you have the means. You have every right to just start a new life, start a new beginning. There's nothing wrong with that. You have every right to do that as an adult, as a grown woman. However, if it was a case where you're in a healthy environment with a good mother, and she's letting you stay with her, like, please stay with her, okay? I personally, I'm very traditional. I like, the fact that a woman stays home, with like her family until like she gets married and stuff like that. But these are extreme situations where I know that the final step is to literally like, you got to get out, because it could escalate and get to a level where it's like it's very bad. And I've personally experienced it, so I know what can come next once they can't like control you in other ways. I don't want you ladies to think that I'm encouraging, like a woman just, like, oh, I'm gonna go and do whatever. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about women that are actually experiencing like abuse. I think that being around a narcissistic person, and that person like literally trying to like suck the life out of you like a vampire, I think that's not a safe environment to be in, mentally, emotionally, physically. And I think it's impossible for someone to grow and change spiritually and become their better selves around someone like that. I just wanted to make that very clear, okay? I'm not encouraging all that nonsense. Like, okay, now I'm gonna go party and sleep around. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying create space, move out, still live a decent life. Just don't be around toxicity. That's all I'm saying. If you are too young to move out, you are a young girl watching this, what I used to do was I would just stay in my room. It sucks, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do to keep the peace. Do your chores, you know, stay quiet. Quietness is gonna be your superpower. I'm not saying ignore, but you know what I mean. Just mind your own business, do your chores, do your homework, stay in your room, make your room like the most wonderful place for you, you know, and work on your hobbies, work on your projects, plan ahead, start building a community, you know, reach like have people that are there for you. I hope that you can like seek out advice, seek out someone, you know, if it can't be family members, even just a friend to talk to until you have the means to get out of this toxic situation. I just want you to be wise. Don't do anything crazy. I don't want you to get into battles, screaming, all that. It will just make things worse. So keep to yourself, or you can go on walks, do extra curriculums, you know, for like school and stuff like that. Like I'm not saying keep yourself so busy that you're like tired and stressed, but like find ways to just, you know, be just with yourself until things change. Because sometimes people that deal with narcissistic parents like that are sometimes the scapegoat of the family. And that's another topic I will be talking about, ladies. From scapegoat to the goat, we're going to talk about dysfunctions in the family. So normally the target is the scapegoat. So you watching it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Don't worry, I understand. So I know you heard my advice. Trust me, it will work. They might, you know, open the door and try and provoke you, but like stand your ground, reaffirm yourself, ignore all the gossips, all the little nudges that they'll try and throw at you. Why are you always in your room? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Da 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 da. Oh, did you do your chores? Yes, I did my chores. They'll be like, oh, there's nothing to say. Listen, you gotta play smart. You gotta play smart. So I'm just giving you tips if you are a young lady and you are in the situation. I just want you to be wise. I don't want you to keep fighting. Use that opportunity, that time alone to heal and follow all these steps that I just explained. Like start preparing yourself, start growing, becoming. They'll see the change. They'll try and get at you, but I really want you to stand firm. Lastly, I want you to build a support system. I want you to get therapy sessions. If you are still in school, see if there's a counselor, someone that can like coach you, or someone that you can talk to. You can have support groups and stuff like that. Hopefully you ladies have someone like in the family that you can trust, that you can talk to, a friend or anyone. Like build a community, okay? Build your own community. I wish I did those things, you know? I wish I could have like done that, spoken up and just find solutions, a community. There was a point where I did reach out to a family for help and they did help me, and I'm still entirely grateful for them when things escalated, when I was in a bad situation that occurred with my own mother, and they helped me even like find my own apartment, and like this family went above and beyond for me. I don't know if they're watching this, but I am grateful for you all till this day. I am so grateful. Unfortunately, because I was still in that still stuck in that, you know, that toxic relationship, I ended up going back home. So I wish I had just like kept it moving in my life. I think things would have been different for me. However, I do not regret where I'm at because I do have a beautiful boy and I'm so grateful to be a mother. However, I see where I could have grown even more if I had just kept going, you know? But it's okay. We learn, we experience these things, and we just keep it moving, right? I want to give you ladies a bonus tip, okay? So this is like affirmation for liberation, and I want you to speak these words, okay? So I'm going to read this and I want you to write it down and speak out loud. Speak it to yourself every day. Reaffirm yourself, okay? You can even look in a mirror and say these things. Her pain is not my responsibility. I am worthy of love and respect just as I am. I release the guilt that was never mine to carry. I choose peace over pleasing. I do not owe her anything. Thank you so much, ladies, for watching this video. I really hope that this video was very healing and empowering. I want you ladies to become that woman. I don't want you to stay broken women. I don't want you to stay bitter women. I'm not here to build up on your trauma. I want you to use that fire to become a better version of yourself. I want you to use that negative energy and turn it into pure energy, transmute it. A lot of these people, they want you to become just as evil as them. And we're going to do the opposite. We're going to reaffirm what we went through, but then we're also going to choose a good path.